What's up, everybody? It's your favorite R2 Murder Use favorite nerd, and today we are looking at the Black Series BT-1, commonly called BT. From the latest wave, he does come with a fair amount of accessories. I'm going to talk about them. We're going to show how they go on. We're going to talk about the potential problems of them going on, and then we'll talk about the droid. Obviously, not a whole lot new to see here, but we will talk about what is new. You get these two pieces here. Nothing really special about them, no added paint or anything, decent enough sculpt work. In order to install them, just take off these side panels on his legs, and then that will allow you to peg these into the side. Now, they're a softer plastic, so they have a harder time kind of really making a secure connection by pegging them in. But that's pretty secure right there. And then same for the other side. You also get the two side pieces that plug into his head. This one is his rocket launcher, and the hoses, it's a really nice sculpt work. Like, you can see the outer panel of the head is like pushed out, and then the hoses connecting the rocket launcher, like the probably pneumatic powered rocket launcher, and then some silver paint as well as plenty of dry brushing throughout. Then you have basically a hinge here at the base, and then a secondary hinge at the head of the rocket launcher, so to speak. Then you have this one, same sort of deal except a singular hinge for this like laser gun here, and once again, pretty intricate sculpt work, some silver paint, and then you get this little, artillery sort of element here added to it, and it looks, sculpt-wise, paint-wise, everything, little red paint inside there, really great. And they peg into the side of his head, which is where the problems kind of come from. But mine, knock on wood, I've seen a lot of people online having issues with theirs kind of falling out. Mine is holding pretty well. I'm not going to take them in and out a whole lot from now on, but this one's a little looser than the other. Maybe some hot water, like boil some hot water, kind of sit this in there, and then as quickly as you can sort of jam it as far as you can inside, so to speak. But mine aren't as bad as I've seen some people's, but this one is definitely a weaker connection than this one. All right, so with all this stuff off of them, let's just talk about the figure. So we have this, which is painted on the eye. At least, it's painted and it's like airbrushed around it to kind of give the glowing look. So we have the bright orange in the center and then the darker orange kind of almost going to a brown around it. We have some silver outlines around the head. We have the silver paint there, a little blue paint, silver paint up top, as well as this little extra nib-bit there. And you get the swivel. Now, in typical kind of Black Series R2 fashion, you get the third leg, so to speak, that can come extended as you twist the head. And then you get a little bit of an ankle tilt here and that copper paint on the foot, which is well enough. All right, so then we have the middle section. We have the two doors, just like every other one, and they do open up to expose these little pieces. Let me get my little tool out here, which is fine. No issues there. Gray plastic, works fine. And then we had the silver paint, copper paint, silver paint, silver paint, silver paint, silver outline work, silver paint, red paint, and then more silver outline work, as well as some silver paint on the back. So that's all done well enough. The other thing that's worth talking about is the whole thing is kind of cast in this metallic flecked plastic for the gray, which does look nice. It gives it a nice little look to it. And then we have these arms here. They're on swivel, so you can get them all the way around. And then we have silver paint on the wires at the bottom where you get your ankle tilts. So nothing really crazy, nothing that's going to set the world on fire, but kind of straightforward, bare bones sort of attempt at a R2 unit that has a very specific type of personality. And there he is with Dr. Aphra. Still waiting on my murder PO. And I'll be putting him in Jabba's palace as well until I kind of find a more suitable place. Just don't know what to do with them quite yet. Once again, let's talk about the negatives. Obviously, the most glaring is the fact that those pieces that are supposed to stick into the head don't do so very well. That's really the only complaint, but it's a big one. It's a big one because this is a $20 figure. It's just really a droid. There's not a ton of engineering that went into this. There's a fair amount of sculpt work and paint, to be fair, but it's a very limited part count, and it's very limited in design. So the few extra things that they added onto it, they probably should have really gotten right. It's awfully expensive for what it ultimately is. Then for it not not to work well on top of that is a real bummer. Positives though are kind of the same that you'd expect from any R2 unit. It's decent sculpt, it's decent paint, it's fairly well put together. It's just really going to come down to how important these characters are to you. You know, the comic book characters are never quite as popular as the film characters, and if you're not in love with these characters, this is an easy one to pass on. But if you are in love with these characters, it's probably all you're going to get. So unfortunately, your hands are kind of tied, but I'm sure you already know that being a Star Wars collector. So I hope that helps. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.